Hey guys, it's Ricky Cecchini, VP of Product here at CloudRadial, and today we're going to be giving you a quick look at CloudRadial Chat and why your help desk deserves an AI upgrade. So let's get started. So first and foremost, we know that chat is already kind of a great thing because it's where your clients already live. Your clients are living on their phones, they're probably already in Teams or maybe Slack, and we already know that chat's their preferred method of communication because that's kind of the way things work these days. And chat is the best way for your MSP to improve customer satisfaction, to improve that client experience. But for you as an MSP, if it's not connected to your PSA, don't bother. It basically becomes another portal for your team that doesn't get checked. It becomes kind of another noisy channel. So for chat really to work, we know that it has to be accessible for your clients, where they work, how they work. And for you, it needs to be able to work for your technicians. It needs to be connected where they work. And most of the time that means in, guess what, Slack or Teams. So when we look at some of the key kind of integrations with CloudRadial Chat, we're looking at the most popular PSAs, right? So ConnectWise Manage, Autotask, Kaseya BMS, Synchro, Halo PSA. Awesome. And we're also engaging with clients, again, on the platforms that they're on, which I mentioned before. So Teams, Slack, maybe the CloudRadial CSA platform, web, even text. So really whatever kind of mainstream communication channel, we want to be in there and helping them to communicate with you. And we're also powered by Azure OpenAI, and it's fully customizable with ChatScript, as we'll see in a second, which means that it's really powerful. It's not something you get that's just out of the box in the way it is. It's something that we really understand to be a multiplier for tech efficiency. And let's talk about that for a second. I understand that chat is typically a very labor-intensive thing for MSPs. I've spoken to a lot of them personally, and we know that MSPs typically fail or turn chat off entirely because they can't really dedicate the appropriate resources to it. So without that PSA integration and without the right automations in place, chat can be super overwhelming. Chat can actually increase client noise, and it makes your techs more anxious because now clients are expecting immediate responses. They expect faster resolution. So it's somewhere between an email and a phone call in terms of immediacy. And we also know that it can create more work. Because it's easier to use that channel, it lowers the barrier for clients to create tickets, which sounds like a good thing, and it does increase customer satisfaction. But again, it can easily overwhelm your technicians during busy times, during their breaks, or during off hours when no one's really watching. So in order to do chat correctly, you have to have a couple things. For sure, you have to have a PSA integration. And if you have AI assistance, you can really take that load off that stresses a human technician. So with everything that we're looking at on the screen, CloudRadial uses each one of these bullet points to multiply those tech efficiencies. So we're either going to gather the necessary details for that more complete ticket and actually send that off to your PSA, or ideally, we're solving that ticket outright. So you're not even seeing it necessarily. You're just getting the credit for completing it. So let's actually look at some of the options with how CloudRadial Chat works. Now, we've got 3 different versions here, and we're starting with Starter. And it really even is the ultimate chat, even pre-AI. This is still going to get you that PSA integration. It's still going to get you that Teams Slack integration, again, where your clients live, and those slash commands, which I'm really excited to show you. So let's actually take a look at what the system looks like. So on screen right now, let's just start with some authentication. Let's look at how a user starts a chat. If it's embedded in your Teams, in your Slack, or in, for example, what we're seeing on screen is the CloudRadial CSA, the clients can be immediately authenticated into the chats, no extra work for the client, super easy. And the above example is, again, what it looks like in CloudRadial's unified client portal. You do not need CloudRadial to get chat. They are 2 separate systems. And from here, again, they can easily see their tickets, ask questions a lot faster. If it's embedded somewhere else, clients can still authenticate using their emails, their phone number, even the 365 login. So different authentication methods can be turned on and off to your preference, and that's something that we actually set up and cover during the onboarding of chat. But let's look at what you're really here for, which is an actual conversation. So we're seeing an example here of a user having a conversation within Teams. Now, we're going to stick to this theme throughout this video. On the right, we're going to see the bot. We're going to see the actual chat. On the left-hand side, we're seeing the technician's view. So right-hand side, bot, client, left-hand side, you're the tech. And we're seeing that the MSP has also branded this as RemiBot. So you can also brand it, make it your own. It doesn't have to be CloudRadial Chat, of course. We want it to be white labeled. So this is a proprietary AI assistant, which is a really nice touch. In Chat Starter, the bot is taking care of asking those main questions to fill out a ticket. You can see it going through and asking kind of what's the title, what are the details. Where this ticket goes is ultimately up to you. Within the chat command console, you're choosing which board or queue for it to go to. And understand that in Starter, there is no AI assistance, but that ticket is still getting logged to the PSA. It's still live chat capable, and we'll see what that experience looks like right now. So let's take a peek. So in this example, we're looking at initiating a live chat. Now you can see on the left-hand side, the technician got a card in Teams that gives them a couple options, and they can initiate a chat with a click of a button. To hit the best of both worlds, we have to hit that medium, like I talked about before, between AI immediacy and then human nuance and interaction. So what we're seeing here is an example of a human picking up that chat, talking to the user, and just helping them out seamlessly, exactly what they would expect. And know that you can set up these expectations for live chat hours with your clients while still giving them top-notch AI support off hours. And again, that's something we can tweak in the onboarding, where we can set your live chat hours to set those expectations up properly. So again, as you can see, the technician on the left goes about their business, gets notified of a new ticket card coming in, and they choose when to initiate the chat, so they're not getting overwhelmed. And you can see how easy it is to treat it like a traditional chat experience, which is what a lot of people expect. The chat goes on as long as the user needs, feels like talking to someone on Teams, so they're back in their home, right? They're not going anywhere else to do their work. And this is the same experience really regardless of where the chat is embedded, right? You're going to get that back and forth that's really seamless and clean no matter what. But let's actually look at some of the cool efficiencies that the tech can use to modify that ticket next. So I've got ConnectWise on the right, know that it works more or less the same for any PSA, and I've got the tech view still on the left. And we're seeing the tech inside of Teams, and we're showing them kind of working on this ticket. So it's really easy to modify. I mean, you can do stuff like adding notes or changing statuses and making any other changes. So the tech right now is literally changing statuses on the fly, adding notes on the fly, and this is going to help your technicians stay focused on what they're doing without having to bounce back and forth to the PSA, which is super helpful for them. So again, in the video, you can review this while I'm talking, but you can see that stuff's happening. This is actually in real time. You can see those notes being added, those statuses being changed very reliably. Now, we also are really big on accountability. So what's really nice is as the technician chats, as they work on it, as they figure stuff out, those chat logs are going to be saved as transcripts in the internal notes of the ticket, regardless of where that chat originated. So that means that everything is organized, it's on paper, and it's the perfect paper trail, which is really big for pretty much every MSP. And you can see a copy of that transcript, you can see the logs, so nothing should fall through the cracks with this kind of consistency. Now, let's talk about a user maybe getting an update, right? So you can see that they can click on that. I want to check on an issue. They can click a card. Not only can they use the chat to get an idea of where their ticket's at, they can also add an update to it as things progress on their end if they choose. So it's not necessarily just a open a ticket, let's go. It's a conversation back and forth, which makes chat a really valuable channel. So that means that if they go in and, append some notes, add a new file, it's added there in the PSA for the tech. That means that the ticket's in the PSA, ready to be worked on. But as far as the user is concerned, they see that the request is heard. They can visually double check and make sure that everything they wanted to note, everything they wanted to add to the case is there. And that does a lot for the client mentality. So because they can verify it exists, again, we're showing an example of what it looks like in the CloudRadial CSA. That's what you're seeing when the screen transitions there. Again, really that ticket, because it's stored there, anywhere that you're pulling those PSA notes, that is going to show up, which means that chat is kind of a channel to everywhere else. So instant help, instant ticket logging, instant proof that they've heard, that's a really great user experience. No more wondering, if you send an email, if you make a phone call, did anyone hear me? Did I make my point clear? They can verify exactly what they need, and they can keep going with it. So let's talk about some secret sauce for MSPs that MSPs really love. It's their slash commands. And you can see a few of them in action here. They make the chat super useful and quick to affect the day-to-day life of technicians. So that means that they're able to do stuff like invoke tickets or add notes or change statuses, even assign tickets and more. So it's super powerful that techs can do that within the systems. Again, Slack or Teams really mainly for this stuff, and they don't need to go anywhere else to do it. And that's the gist, right? So again, we've got the PSA connection. We've got these customizable slash commands. We've got the live chat, and that's just starter. So let's see what happens when you supercharge it and go a little bit stronger with that AI assistance. So now we're talking about the middle tier, professional. That is going to give you everything starter has, but a couple of extra bonuses. So again, we're looking at two main things here. We're looking at the AI assisted conversations, and we're looking at the customization of those slash commands. So it's not just about slash assign or slash card. You can actually add your own. I'm going to put a couple of FAQs in here that usually come up, and I know you're watching a video, so you're not able to interact with me, sadly. But let's talk about AI conversations. So 200 AI conversations are included. You can always get more, and what that means is, as we'll see in a moment, the AI is going to try to resolve that ticket for you. Now, if you hit the 200 limit, it's going to revert you back to starter. It is not going to keep charging you, keep adding stuff more and more and more. Think of it as a way to understand exactly how much use you're getting out of it and how effective it is. So you're really only paying for stuff you really want to see. And partners will obviously be able to purchase larger tiers, go wherever they want to. So again, as you kind of figure out where the chat lands for you, you can certainly start with perhaps starter and move up and just see where it feels right. I mean, you don't have to pick any single one necessarily and stick with it forever. So remember, all in all, the AI, as we're going to see an example of it in a second, it's customized to IT and technology. So your clients aren't going to be able to go crazy. They're not going to ask for cake baking recipes or whatever, kind of like they would with ChatGPT. This is going to be specific, so you're not going to blow these conversations on irrelevant things. So let's take a look now at an AI version of the conversation that we saw in Starter. So in a perfect world, the AI is not just going to ask the right questions, it's going to solve that ticket entirely. So the conversation goes a little bit different than last time. Last time we saw it say, what's the problem? Give me the title, and what's the description? Now what's happening is it's actually digging deeper for that information, right? It's asking about when the ticket happened, or I'm sorry, when the issue happened, some steps to resolve it. And in this case, it actually gave a resolution step. So maybe it actually fixed the problem. And in this case, it really did. Now, focus on the left. Nothing happened, right? The technician's view is blank. So what's going on there? No noise, no issues. The user's happy. They go about their day. They didn't take any extra time or effort from your team. The ticket still gets logged as a closed ticket, so you still get tracking, you still get credit, and that paper trail still exists, meaning that your new AI employee is doing a killer job, and you can take lunch, which is pretty sweet. And I also like to be realistic, because that's the kind of guy I am. It's not always going to be perfect, which means that users are not always going to give the perfect answer, and sometimes they're really short-fused. We've all had bad experiences with, especially in the prototype days of chat, where it just doesn't really answer the questions, and it really doesn't, we've tried this on many different sites, certainly. And we want to be able to give the best of both worlds, to hit the median between AI helping and then human interaction that can really get it. So what we're seeing here is an example of the human getting mixed into the ticket without frustrating the user. The human asks for help, and they don't just keep getting dragged out by that AI over and over again. It does create that ticket. It does send it over to support, and that way they can pick it up. So again, user experience, quality of the interaction is of the utmost importance, because that's what's going to get people happy and keep them engaged with you. And again, like I said earlier, setting up those expectations for those live chat hours, still giving them top-notch support, still logging their tickets, irrespective of the time and details of it, is the key to making that experience go as smoothly as possible for everybody, your guys and them. Now, let's look at those team slash commands. Remember those from earlier? In professional, you can actually write your own to invoke. So those that are a little bit more technically minded can do a lot of really cool stuff, because you're really only bound by your imagination as to what you want to create to help your team. To make yourself more efficient in workflows, this is kind of the ticket. This is potential to supercharge the quality of life of your team and really speed up that ease of ticket triage, work, and resolution. So again, if you wanted to write stuff to escalate or assign or call to a webhook or whatever have you, you have free commands. So again, those commands slash escalate slash whatever can show up in addition to the stock 9 that we come with. Now, let's take a look at the creme de la creme, right? We were talking enterprise here, and this is where an MSP wants the top level of complexity, but in a good way, right? They want the top level of really the control of this chat. And this is going to be centered around one main thing, and that is dialog workflows. So we saw that in a couple of those different examples that I showed, there's little cards as the user that says, report a problem, check your update, right? But what if you've got an organization that is hyper specific? You want to start saying, ask a sales question, or maybe you want to say, I don't know, check out my documentation for my legal system if you're hyper specific. Well, dialog workflows are going to be for those that need that completely custom and heavily automated systems, because you can actually decide your own prompts, decide the flow of actions, and decide exactly what that user can trigger straight from the top. With the right help, you can make these reach out and affect pretty much any other systems to do things like provisioning, webhooking, alerting, you name it. Sky's the limit. You basically get full control over the AI bot, and we essentially help you design your own chat op solution that solves your specific business needs. So that's something that, again, during the onboarding, will help you set things up, will help you understand it, and we'll put you on a path towards success so you can actually get the most out of chat, really regardless of where you go. But the dialogues are super, super powerful. All right, let's talk about pricing. So you've got a couple of different options here. Pricing is pretty much largely based on how much AI you want inside the chat. The ability, remember, to open tickets in the PSA at every level. And generally, the higher you go, the more sophisticated the AI gets, the more customization and control over the AI you have. And remember, too, that this is brandable at every level, which means that regardless of which one you pick, you're going to look good. You're going to look really nice because you're going to have a proprietary AI assistant put in front of your customers. And you're going to be able to supercharge that tech efficiency like we talked about earlier. So thank you so much for viewing my brief demo of CloudRadial Chat. And if you have more questions, please reach out to us. We're more than happy to answer and give you a live look. Thank you so much.